Mega History Presents.
The year is 1796. Napoleon Bonaparte, a 26-year-old general dismissed by France's political elite as an upstart, stares at a map of Italy in a dimly lit command tent. His Army of Italy, a ragtag force of 37,000 malnourished soldiers, shivers in the alpine cold. Their boots are worn to shreds, their muskets rusted, and their morale as brittle as ice. Yet in Napoleon's mind, this disheveled legion is the key to unlocking an empire. "Soldiers," he declares, his voice cutting through the gloom, "you are poor, but the plains beyond these mountains overflow with riches. Follow me, and I will make you the masters of nations." What unfolds over the next 2 years is not merely a military campaign, but the forging of a legend, a tale of audacity, genius, and the relentless pursuit of immortality. From the sunlit vineyards of Lombardy to the scorching sands of Egypt, Napoleon's triumphs and failures would redefine the boundaries of ambition, leaving an indelible mark on history and the human spirit. Italy in the 18th century was a fractured mosaic of kingdoms, duchies, and republics, all under the shadow of Austrian dominance. The French Directory, seeking to distract Napoleon from Parisian politics, handed him command of the Army of Italy, a force they considered expendable. But Napoleon saw opportunity in the chaos. His strategy defied convention: strike swiftly, divide enemy forces, and exploit their disunity. The campaign began in April 1796 with the Battle of Mononat. Outnumbered by Austrian and Sardinian forces, Napoleon feigned a retreat, luring the enemy into a trap. Splitting their armies, he crushed them in rapid succession, declaring, "Victory belongs to the most persevering." His troops, electrified by his daring, began to believe in the impossible. Weeks later, at the Battle of Lodi, he faced a fortified bridge guarded by Austrian cannons. Under withering fire, he rallied his men. "Is there one among you who would trade immortality for a lifetime of retreat?" Leading a suicidal charge, he seized the bridge, earning the nickname Le Petit Caporal, the Little Corporal, a title embodying both his stature and the loyalty he inspired. By May 1797, Napoleon had transformed Italy. He defeated the Austrians at Arco, wading through chest-deep marshes to outflank their positions, and shattered their forces at Rivoli by luring them into a valley and annihilating them with artillery. The Treaty of Campo Formio redrew Europe's map. France annexed Belgium and the Rhineland, while Napoleon carved the Cisalpine Republic from northern Italy, positioning himself as a liberator. He abolished feudal privileges, drafted constitutions, and posed as an heir to the Roman Republic, declaring, "The French Revolution has come to break your chains." Yet beneath the rhetoric lay a ruthless pragmatist. He plundered art treasures, Leonardo da Vinci's. The Last Supper was nearly dismantled for transport to Paris, and siphoned wealth to fund his army and seduce France with cultural spoils. Returning to Paris in December 1797, Napoleon was greeted as a conquering hero. Crowds swarmed his carriage, chanting his name. The Directory, threatened by his popularity, offered hollow accolades, but his personal life unraveled. Josephine, his wife of 1 year, had spent his absence in a whirlwind of parties and affairs, including a liaison with a dashing hussar officer, Napoleon Charles. Napoleon's letters to her veer between adoration and anguish. "You are the torment of my soul. I loved you more than the throne of kings, yet you betray me." Josephine, ever the strategist, soothed him with promises of devotion. But their marriage became a microcosm of his rule, a blend of passion, calculation, and unyielding control. The Directory, eager to exile him, proposed a suicidal invasion of England. Napoleon countered with a bold alternative: strike at Britain's empire by seizing Egypt, the gateway to India. "Europe is but a molehill," he proclaimed. "All great empires rise in the east." The Directory, relieved to send him far from Paris, approved. In May 1798, Napoleon set sail with 40,000 troops, 167 scholars, and a library of 500 books. fleet carrying not just soldiers, but the Enlightenment's thirst for knowledge. Evading British Admiral Horatio Nelson, he landed at Alexandria in July, declaring, "Soldiers! 40 centuries of history gaze down upon you." At the Battle of the Pyramids, his innovative square formations repelled Mamluk cavalry charges, muskets, and cannons, decimating swords and spears. Cairo fell, and Napoleon, donning a turban and quoting the Quran, styled himself a modern Alexander, blending conquest with cultural diplomacy. Yet Egypt exposed the limits of his ambition. The Rosetta Stone, discovered by his scholars, unlocked the secrets of hieroglyphs, a scientific triumph, but militarily, the campaign faltered. In August 1798, Nelson destroyed the French fleet at the Battle of the Nile, stranding Napoleon's army. Plague ravaged his ranks. Supply lines collapsed. During the siege of Jaffa, faced with an outbreak of bubonic plague among his troops, Napoleon ordered the euthanasia of infected soldiers, with opium a decision he later called the darkest night of my soul. When Ottoman forces executed French prisoners, he retaliated with the massacre of 2,000 captives, a brutality that haunted his legacy. Cut off from France, Napoleon turned to propaganda. He founded the Institut d'Egypte, where scholars cataloged antiquities, mapped the Nile, and pioneered Egyptology. His newspaper, Le Courrier de l'Egypte, fed Paris a curated narrative of exotic triumphs, omitting disease and defeat. Paintings commissioned upon his return depicted him as a philosopher king, calming plague victims and lecturing savants beneath the pyramids. Even the Rosetta Stone, though seized by the British after France's surrender, became a symbol of his intellectual legacy. Privately, Napoleon grappled with failure. "I saw the limits of my power in the desert," he confided to his secretary. "Sand slips through the fingers, no matter how tightly you grasp." By 1799, with his army decimated and Ottoman forces advancing, he abandoned his troops, sneaking past British blockades to return to France. France in 1799 was a nation in crisis. The Directory, riddled with corruption, had bankrupted the treasury. Royalist revolt simmered. Austria and Russia mobilized for war. The public, desperate for stability, saw Napoleon as a messiah. "The revolution is over," he declared upon landing. "I am its heir." Within weeks, he orchestrated the coup of 18 Brumaire, dissolving the Directory and installing himself as first consul. Egypt had been a military disaster, but its mythos cemented his image as a visionary. Italy had taught him to conquer. Egypt taught him to reign. The Italian and Egyptian campaigns revealed Napoleon's duality, a man who wielded Enlightenment ideals as weapons and masked imperial ambition with cultural curiosity. In Italy, he crafted his legend as a liberator. In Egypt, he donned the cloak of a philosopher king. Both ventures showcased his genius for turning chaos into opportunity and defeat into myth. Yet these campaigns also sowed the seeds of his downfall. His belief in invincibility led to the frozen hell of Russia. His hunger for legacy birthed an empire too vast to hold. But in 1799, as he stood on the precipice of absolute power, Napoleon was unstoppable, a conqueror who had mastered the alchemy of ambition, transforming the blood of battlefields and the dust of deserts into the gold of immortality. In the next episode, the consulate rises, the Napoleonic Code reshapes society, and the Republic gives way to empire.